Okay, and we're live. Welcome, guys, to Making Comics with Marsh and Chris. This is episode 2. My name's Chris. You know me. You're on my channel. Um, with me is Marshall Lee.
Lee.
Marshall Lee now, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yep. I go by my middle name now, so it's easier.
Yeah, beautiful.
Easier for people to remember.
I always have to go through my head whether it's like Complex or Couture or Lee, and it's like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I
I'll
think
just
I'm sticking with Lee, so.
start calling you Donkey from now on or something.
Uh-oh.
Cool. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, last week Marsh and I started a weekly video series, a live video series that we're going to do called Making Comics, which in light is much like what Corey Kerr and Joshua Campbell are doing. Also, Mike Emirates and Gaz Gretzky are also doing something similar, where we get together once a week, check in, talk about our weekly goals, what we plan on doing with our comics and with our artwork, and then we reconvene each week, check in, talk about what we've done, what we haven't done, and then set a new set of goals for the following week. So if you check out Marsh's page, which you'll be able to find in the links below, you'll be able to see episode 1, which sort of highlights all of that, and we talk a little bit more in depth about it and what we planned on doing within the week that's been. And today we're going to catch up on what we have done. Let's start with you, Marsh. How did your week that's been go? Did you achieve all your
Man,
goals?
we have to start with me. Okay. Well, much like, and it's funny because on last week when Mike and Gaz were doing theirs, Gaz was like, this week was almost a disaster and it went terribly for me. And he ended up pulling it off in the end, which was awesome. Kind of similar to me. What I talked about doing last week was get 6 pages done of a comic I was working on with somebody.
Yeah, and you had a
Um,
hefty goal.
what's that?
You had a hefty goal to achieve.
Yeah, yeah. And it was kind of, yeah, it was definitely crazy, but at the same time, like I explained, it was more like me copying what was already created. So I think I could have at least got the penciling done. I don't know. I might not have been able to, but it was cool to at least try to put that goal out there. But early in that week, that project became something that I'm not going to be working on anymore. So,
Bummer.
um, it's kind of out of my control that I didn't do that goal, but it is what it is. It's no big deal. Now I'm on to kind of focusing. Well, to be honest, I'm not sure like what I'm going to be focusing on, but we'll get to that later. But you know, what I did end up doing though was I ended up kind of focusing more on Attack of the Lizard Brain, the like finishing the cover up, getting it ready for print, and then putting together like kind of the website. I didn't realize my website was actually down
Oh, wow.
for maybe a week or so. It was just a weird technical thing with the DNS servers and all that, whatever all that stuff is. And so I had to just mess around with a couple little things, and I got it back up online on Saturday. The cats are crying like crazy. I don't know why. They got food and water. But
Thanks
anyways,
for the attention. Some marsh
uh,
love.
what's that?
I just want some marsh love.
Yeah, he wants to get up in the window, but he should be able to. But anyways, so so yeah, I ended up working on that mostly and just kind of randomly working on comics throughout the week. I actually, you know what, I can't do it because I'm actually on my phone recording. I gotta see if I can do this on my computer, but I actually have like I use this app called the Harvest app, and I clock in my hours every day of
Great
what
idea.
I'm working on for comics. And I started writing actual like notes too on each day, so I could tell you exactly what I've done. So I'm gonna be a little bit better with that, I think. But I worked on a lot of random things, and I finally got the Lizard Brain story out and the cover ready, and it's available for pre-order now too. Um,
Yeah, you've got to
so
do that too, man, because I've seen that plastered pretty much on all your social media, which is good.
yeah, I was trying to push the promo a bit, and so I did that, and uh, the pre-order will be available till Friday. So just if anybody's interested. But yeah, like uh, I'm really happy to finally get that out because it's crazy because it's like 2 years in the making, which is crazy for like a little 6-page comic. Um, but you know, I had so many other things I was working on between that, and I wasn't focused on getting that done. 100% all of that time. So I'm just glad that it's finally out, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. How about
Awesome.
you? How'd your week go?
Yeah, it seems like it was kind of the week for bad weeks for everyone because I had just the week from hell as well in regards to getting
Mm.
everything done because um, the day after we did our first episode, I got sick. And so yeah, I went to work and just ended up going home and um, the Tuesday I felt a bit better, thought maybe things will progress. And then by Tuesday night, I was pretty much down and out for the count. So I didn't really get back to into action until Friday, and it was just one of those sicknesses, like one of those colds, which like I still have now, but like a bit of a cough and stuff. But like it had knocked me on my feet. I really couldn't do anything. Like I tried to just sketch or um, just do maybe some lettering, something that's like didn't take a lot of effort, and it did not happen. So a lot of the work that I managed to do was pretty much on the weekend. So I tried to pull in a few extra hours in the time that I had. And luckily, like, well, because we're recording this a day later and today is a public holiday here, which gave me quite a few extra hours to catch up. So I actually achieved more because of that, thankfully. Um,
Mm.
so, like, I'm just going to go through my list. I figured this is probably the easiest way for me to sort of account for what I've talked about. Um, so the first one was like I wanted to finish one page of Monkey Junk. Um, I didn't finish inking a page, which I wanted to do, but I did finish doing all the grey tones on 2 pages, which now just need to be leaded. So I count that as a win because that's still just a bit of a lengthy process that needs to be done and out of the way. Um, the next one was pencil and ink, a piece of fan art or the print that I was working on. I didn't touch that at all. There was just no way knowing that that was going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Finished the coloring on 3 client pieces, which I did do, thankfully. That one probably sat on my mind the most because I've still got a fair few illustrations to do for this customer. And I figured the sooner I can get these done, the sooner I can stop worrying about it and focus on all the other things like the prints and everything. So I got into a bit of a thought process about this in regards to like the prints, the concept art stuff. That maybe I should put that on hold until I just get all this client work done, and just focus my attention on that in the evenings. So I did get those done. I also managed to pencil another one, which I'd done a layout for, so that was sort of part and parcel. It didn't take too long. I had to sketch a commission, which I didn't do, and launch the online store, which I sort of spoke about last week, which was pretty much done. But I just had to update a few things, fix up a few pictures. That I was able to do while I was sick, because that was really easy, just dragging pictures into a web browser and clicking OK. At the same time, I'd received all of my anthology stuff on Friday, which was awesome because I got to do a video for it. And it'd been ages since I'd done a video, so that was nice. But it gave me another reason to sort of highlight the store again throughout the week. So I got to do like another promotional post to sort of hopefully promote the shop, get another product in there, and that all sort of lined up. Um, so, given how much I was trying to do throughout the week, I'd say it was about 50% of the work got done, which is pretty good considering I was so sick. Um, hopefully this week will be a lot better. But yeah, I'm glad that
Yeah.
I managed to squeeze in the extra hours thanks to the long weekend. If I didn't have the long weekend, I probably would have been up up shit creek.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like it kind of worked out for you. It didn't go exactly as planned, but
No, and I was like,
still.
to be honest, I was super worried too because I was so after we did the video, I was like really focused on achieving those goals, getting everything done. Um, I'm just really excited. Like I had this great motivation, which I don't always have. Um, kind of like doing the 100 days where you've got that push against you. Um, I went into like by the time I went to bed, all I could think about was all the things that we'd just spoken about in the video, and then to wake up the next day and be like, I don't know if I can do this now. It was really more probably frustrating to the most part because
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, and I was worried that like not only was I letting myself down, but I was also letting you down in that regard, and everyone else who's watching. And it was a really horrible feeling, um, but it made me push harder towards the end to try and do as much as I possibly could. So
Yeah.
yeah, the goals definitely helped. Having these goals, regardless, I think I've worked harder these past few days than I normally would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there any like, I don't know, like any realizations or whatever during this past week that, like, just like new things you were thinking about as you were doing your projects and stuff that
Yeah.
kind of.
Um, today for me, because I was working on Monkey Junk this morning, um, inking getting some inks done, and I wanted to do a bit of promotional stuff because the night before I was sort of trying to search how to better promote my webcomic because
Mhm.
like anything, I have a lot of faith in what I'm working on, and I throw it online and just assume that because I think it's good enough that everyone else will just find it because it's that good. Um, not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I believe in it, and hopefully other people believe in it as well, or at least see that. But the reality is that's not how the internet works. So I did a bit of research and tried to figure those things out. So I was doing that this morning, and I was just you know going on different websites, checking out Reddit. I started a new DeviantArt account dedicated to Monkey Junk. Um, and I was talking to the writer about this, and I was like, this is really hard because I really want to push the book. I want to push the comic, but I can't really give, like, I'd love to give to some reviewers the comic to review it and get some attention to, link back to the comic. And we're like, well, is it really worth doing anything now when you haven't even finished the first issue? Let's finish the first issue. And yeah, it got me thinking I wouldn't say it was time wasted. Like I learned some lessons throughout doing it, but um, like I put a lot of energy into something that probably could have been held off for a couple more weeks until the book's finished. But now that's sort of a goal that I'm pushing further towards as well. The sooner I get the book done, the sooner I can start promoting the book heavier. Focus on getting it into print and getting reviews done and getting people on board with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And I think that it's not, wasted time during this time. I think this is, if you have moments to look into it, this is the, definitely the time to do it because, I don't know if you were able to catch the video I did make with me inking the page of the cover for Attack of the Lizard Brain, but that's kind of what I was talking about, which was, I think like a lot of times we don't spend enough time on the promotion side of things and we don't like believe in our project, or we do but we don't give it its due effort when it comes to the promotional side of it and getting it out there and stuff. And I mean, I think you've done a pretty pretty good job. From what I've seen in the past of things you've worked on. So you're actually pretty decent at that, and I'm learning myself.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm still forever learning. So I don't even consider
and,
myself to have it down. Like um, every time I go to do it, I feel like I have to relearn what to do, especially in today's
yeah,
age with social media moving so rapidly and um, production of comics and such. Are so far and few between. By the time you get to the next one, um, you've already got to figure out the next step of the game. Um, but it was even just looking at like interaction online and being more involved in communities. Um, I'm thinking now, from what I've read, Twitter is meant to be a amazing source of artists to really get involved in conversations. And I've never really liked Twitter, but maybe it's worth me actually getting into Twitter for the sake of promoting my comic, like rather than me just using social media. Because as a switching out from Facebook into Twitter, really just using Twitter as a business tool instead, and looking at it that way.
yeah, I felt similarly about Twitter. It's a tricky one because the comic like industry is on there talking a lot, and a lot
Quite
of that
heavily, yeah.
talk is not very productive. It's more negative. But
Yeah, and
everybody's there, and there are good conversations happening. But it's weird because you kind of have to be invested in taking time to do social media with Twitter, and that's something I don't generally have time to do. If I'm online, I'm usually either being involved with the YouTube community and 100 Days community, or I'm uh, researching for whatever project I'm working on.
yeah. I
Um,
imagine you're similar to me, and like you probably work in chunks of time rather than doing things sporadically throughout the day. Whereas, like if when I'm working from 8 till 5 o'clock, that's work time. I don't really spend a lot of time. I don't spend any time focusing on anything to do with my own personal work because I don't have the time. So I have to
right.
work in the chunks. So I have my morning time, work time, family time, relaxation time, and then work time. And the only time I could ever really focus on Twitter is within relaxation time, and that's not realistic in
Yeah.
the way you were just talking about. You need to be active throughout. You need to be involved in conversations um, in real time, and
Yeah.
it's not always feasible.
Yeah. I feel like people who are doing it as a like doing whatever they're doing as a career, and they kind of have like their, set time they just work on throughout the day. I feel like they maybe have more time to like check in and check out or something, but people who have like a quote unquote day job, maybe like you
Yeah,
and
back when I
I
was
think it might be a
freelancing,
little tough.
because I would have two screens. I'd have my Cintiq set up, and then I'd have my monitor in front of me. So I've always got the work in front of me, and I can always just look up, and I could have like a Facebook chat open. I could have a Google Hangout open with, there went hundreds. I could have Twitter open. I could multitask a lot of things and still keep drawing at the same time whilst being involved in multiple conversations. I could answer Facebook messages like on my art page, like that. I can't do that anymore.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it sucks, but it's a reality. I'd like to get back to it, but the only way I'd be able to do that is if I went into a full time career of art, which is it's the
Right.
goal, but it's not instantly foreseeable.
Right. um So, one last thing about what you were saying. Curious about. You decided to do start up a new DeviantArt. I'm curious about that decision. What led you to get into that?
Yeah, there was actually nothing that really prompted me to get into DeviantArt again. It was more a thought process of what's an avenue that I can use, what's a place that's filled with a lot of artists, similar to Instagram, but probably has a better interaction rate in regards to actual conversation. Um, and DeviantArt was something I used 10 years ago quite heavily. I was really into DeviantArt. I made, a lot of fans on there. I did a lot of commissions through there. I use their forums regularly. And then I just sort of disappeared, and I moved into Facebook, I moved into Instagram, which are all great, but DeviantArt, by looking at it, looking so far, it's still the same website. There's still the same artists there, and there's a lot of new artists there. Um, so there's a plethora of people who just want to see artwork. So I figured if I just take the artwork side of Monkey Junk and, without the comic book, I can build a fan base, but I can also create a central location for people to see other Monkey Junk stuff. Like if you're on Patreon, you get to see it all anyway. Um, but down the line, a couple of months later, having posted it on Patreon, I'll want to post it publicly. But I was like, well, where's the best place to do that? Facebook is useless. Instagram's fine, but I don't really see it as a good source of sort of cataloging artwork for my comic because it's so spread over everything that I do. Like for any other work that I do, whether it's like private commissions and just doodles and in my sketchbook, etc. So the DeviantArt is just a dedicated place, and that was the thought, was lots of artists, potential of gaining a new audience that I'm not hitting for the webcomic, and just a place to share artwork and get involved in the community again. So
Cool.
yeah,
That sounds good. It's actually a little bit related to something I did. I actually started a new like social media push, I guess, or whatever thing
yeah,
this weekend too, which is and it kind of goes to this point I was thinking like I don't think that, when it comes to promotion, a lot of times I've gotten stuck in thinking like what's the best way and what's the right way to do it. But what I found out throughout the years is there is no best way and right way. There are some good practices that can help you out, but once you get those basics down, what you really need to do is find your own recipe, the thing that works for you, and then
yeah,
focus on that and be consistent with that. And like you said, like Facebook is kind of a wash for you, but maybe not for everybody. For me, Facebook, I don't love Facebook. I wish I didn't have to have a Facebook, but at the same time, when you do a Kickstarter or something, a lot of times many of the people come from Facebook.
correct, yeah,
And a lot of times I do get some traction there. That being said, pages are kind of useless. So you kind of have to rely on your personal timeline, which it's like, okay, well, do I have like friends and stuff on there? But one thing I found is I've had at least one friend who's a creator who's done a Facebook group. And the thing with Facebook groups is when you post something, people actually get notifications on it. So people who are members of that group, that's kind of he calls it like the insider group, and I think I'm actually gonna retitle my group to say like insiders or something like that, or fan club or something. So it seems like it's like you get extra stuff there. So I'm kind of almost treating that and my newsletter like I would be treating Patreon if I was still on Patreon.
yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
heard of artists doing this, which is a great way to do it, and I've seen Etsy sellers do it where they, if you're a member of their group, you get exclusive. Oh, just throwing pens
yeah.
around. You get exclusive discounts and things just by being a member of the group, and yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
get to see exclusive behind the scenes of how they make their craft and such, which is what you've just said, which is an awesome idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, you
So
said the newsletter too. That was actually something I did while I was sick, was I tried to reinvigorate my newsletter, which I'm slowly doing.
yeah. It's a weird one for me because I know it's like everybody that's like speaking about finding advice, online for what to do to promote. The number one thing people always say is email, email. You got to get on the email list, blah, blah, blah. And I always like try, and I've had a newsletter for a long time, and there's been times where I've posted it a lot, but it's for some reason it's always the thing that I forget about or don't get
Yeah.
to. And I want to make a goal to, I guess I'm not sure what I should do, but maybe like one a week or one a month. But I see people doing it one a day, which is crazy. Which I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to bother people. I don't think I have time to do that.
Mm.
But
My
one a
thinking
week
on a
seems
month
to make
would be
sense.
enough.
I don't like one a month so much because I feel like that's maybe just not enough.
It's
But
enough to be
I don't
forgotten
know.
about.
What's that?
It's like enough to be forgotten about.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So
Anyway, good.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'm still working on what I call it my like social media recipe. That's what makes sense to me. Like
Yeah,
you don't have to do all of them. You just have to do the ones that make sense to you, you
yeah.
know.
I
So
like
I'm
that.
trying to do
Like,
that.
I like the way you've put that too. Like, I feel like now is me trying new recipes just to see what fits again. Because
Hmm.
yeah, all the old stuff doesn't seem to be doing what it used to do anymore. So
Yeah.
it's like I've been eating McDonald's for 5 years. I'm finally ready to try Hungry Jack's or Burger King or something. So hopefully, hopefully
Yeah.
that'll excite the taste buds a little bit, and I'll get a lot more bites. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, I'm with you. I
And so
like
for you,
the newsletter idea. Do you have any idea on what you would actually put in the newsletter though? Because my concern is, and this is more of an internal concern, is the thought of doing weekly is great, but what do you put in it each week to be exciting or new or fresh to encourage people to want to read it?
I tend to not always. Sometimes some weeks are bland, but and maybe it doesn't have to be exactly every single week. But I feel like every time I go to write a newsletter, I have too much stuff, and I want it to be focused on one thing so that they get that one thing. Like even the newsletter I just sent out, it's about the attack of the lizard brain thing. So it's like, do I focus on getting them to read the story, or do I focus on getting them to buy the pre-order, so I feel like even that I was a little divided, and I kind of put both in there.
Yeah.
I think it was somewhat natural, but I don't know, we'll see. But I did get at least one sale from there, so that's cool. So yeah, I don't know. I always, it seems like there's more than enough stuff to put into a newsletter. Maybe not every single week, but sometimes it is like sometimes there's like too much stuff. So it's more deciding what is the thing I need to put in there.
Yeah.
So
Dave Hingley's just put a comment in the chat saying, so you could do a monthly newsletter if you have lots of different stories in it. Like, for example, a comic case study, a piece of current art, a shop plug, and maybe a quote. So that's cool. Like, that's sort of creating like a template for what you would post and then just putting it in. Um,
yeah.
I suppose you could use it like a blog as well. You could just do like a weekly blog and then promote the newest thing and piece of art, which would have been the lizard brain cover, and then yeah, I like the quote idea. That's interesting. It's different.
I mean, we've done 100 days of making comics and come up with something to talk about every single day for some way. We've come
True.
up with something. So I think we could probably come up with one thing each week.
Yeah, it just seems so much more daunting when you have to put it in writing though, because you actually got to sit there and think and type it out. Whereas vlogging's just you can just talk for 5 minutes and go, okay, I'm done. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cool. Well, we're getting on a bit. Did you want to talk about what your goals are going to be for this week?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, it's kind of tough for me to figure out because now I'm like at this place where I finished one project. Everything I was working on for the last 2 months is kind of like it's kind of come to a halt, sort of, except for like, I mean, some of the projects I was working on was my own projects and stuff. So it's like the way I was approaching it isn't the same way now, but now, um, now I can still work on some of those. So I'm having a hard time kind of deciding what my goal should be. And I'm thinking that because of that, I might make my goal just more of a time goal than a actual what specific work I'm going to get done goal, because I still need to figure it out. And basically what I'm thinking about is the thing that makes most sense to do as a goal is to do the Armor Girl story, the one Gwintel Tensel and all that stuff, because that's the thing that's most developed and that I've been working on a lot for the last couple months more or less. But I'm coming up, like right now I'm in the writing stage, and I'm in that stage of preparatory stuff where it's just like I feel like it has the potential to be never ending, and I want, like, I never feel like I feel like I'm not making progress until I'm working on pages a lot of times, even though
Yeah.
all that other stuff is important. But this time I do want to make a good story, and I want it to have like, just like, I don't know. I just want it to be good, and I want to have like a full script, which I've never done before. Um, so I'm kind of running into trouble with that because I'm still very new at this writing thing. And another part of me, with all the stuff I've been kind of working on, I almost feel like maybe I want to do like a palette cleanser project. And one of those ideas is like, I was talking with a friend about like doing kind of almost like an homage to the 90s, or basically the idea is like to do a comic that does all the awesome things that I would have wanted to do if I was able to like really make comics in the 90s when I was inspired by, like Image Comics and stuff like that. And and also another thing is I did a digital piece this week. It was meant to be just kind of a warm up sketch to learn, but I ended up kind of finishing it, and I really like how it came out. And I'll be honest, I kind of fell in love with the digital process this week, like because I haven't really been able to mess with my tablet since I got it, like with like a full piece. So I finally did kind of that, and it is so awesome to be able to come to a finished place that looks pretty good and polished so quickly. Like I'm used to like drawing something and then inking it and then scanning it in and then trying to wrestle with my computer to color it, and like, or coloring it with like watercolors or something, and it doesn't always come out as good and stuff. And this just like, it gives me the power to do things that I wasn't able to do before, and it helps me to do it kind of quicker. And I really actually like the result. So I almost want to do like some kind of little comic or something that is like all digital, just to like learn
I think that's a good
and
idea.
kind of, I don't know, just see what I can do, I guess, with it. And I feel like that kind of 90s, comic thing could be that thing. It'll be fun to work on that. So I'm kind of in this weird decision mode. I don't want to give up on the other project, but I just feel like I almost feel like I'm learning about writing, and I still don't feel like I'm like ready, but I guess people say they never feel like they're ready. So I should keep working on it. So I don't know. I'm kind of, maybe I'll work on both this week and see where it takes me, and hopefully have a little more solid goal next week.
I think that's a good
Um,
idea though. Like you doing that shorter comic to allow you to build up that experience as well with working digitally. So if you're already
mhm.
enjoying it and enjoying the end product, doing an actual comic, however 4 or 6 pages or whatever, um, gauging how much you enjoy it, how fast it is or slower it is, etc. And by the time that's done, at least you can sort of look back and go, well, do I want to do? Is it Almond Girl?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
working title. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can, well, do I want to do this traditional or do I want to do it digital? Um, Especially if digital is going to allow you to have a much faster output and with a product that you're quite happy with, it could be worth doing that. Especially when you like, if you look at Lizard Brain, it took you quite a while to get that one out. So
That's actually a good point, and that's something I was thinking about too. Is like, compared to some of my friends, I mean, I guess it's all over the place. Some people have less time than I even have, and some people have a lot more time than I even have. But the point is I have a very limited amount of time I can work on things. And if this makes me be able to get product out faster, I'm
mhm.
kind of all for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, in theory, the more pages you produce, the better you're going to get at creating comics. So whether you're doing them digitally or traditionally, building up that knowledge base, that experience, if that's going to come faster, then that's also going to result in you becoming a better artist as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make my goal to do 7 hours of work, which that's more than sometimes I can do.
Yeah,
Just on comics. And I don't know. We'll see how that works. The other thing that I have to do is I have a commission going for like a Moby Dick commission. Somebody wanted me to draw Moby Dick or whatever. So which is interesting. That was actually fun to look into and research. But so I want to get. I think I'm going to make a goal to at least get my first sketches out to that person this week. So I'm making progress on that.
nice.
So 7 hours that, and I think I'm gonna leave it to that. But I am kind of itching to play around with the digital stuff with another thing. I had so much fun doing this like little drawing of this Marvel character called Goblin or whatever. It's like this random one, but that I'm thinking like I'd like to do all the X Force members because that's what originally like got me into comics was like X Force #1, and so I want to do like that, like a one little image of each one. I don't think I'll do that this week, all of that this week, but it'd be nice to get cracking on one of those as well.
Yeah,
But
nice.
that's more like that's not as important. Mostly I want to get the 7 hours and get the Moby Dick thing started. So that's my goals.
Wicked, man. Sounds much more achievable than 6 pages in a week,
Yeah.
despite how easy it might have been.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, man?
I actually haven't written anything down yet because I
Mm-hmm.
figured I'll just talk about it and write it down as I'm doing it. One goal, which is pretty much going to be consistent throughout, however long we do this for, is to finish a page of Monkey Junk because that's generally the schedule I have set for myself is to have work 1 page a week, um, which pushes me to not sort of piss fart around and just um, take my time with a page or become too delicate because if I do that, then I start to fall behind. So that's the first one. I think I'm on to page. I think it's either 17 or 18, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome because I'm getting close to the finish of issue 1, which will be nice. Um, the next thing I want to do, just because we were talking about it, is like the newsletter. I think I want to actually try and get a newsletter out this week. Um, whether it's going to be a monthly one or a weekly one. I like the idea of weekly, but I don't know if that's time that I can dedicate um, every week. But I think I don't know. I'm thinking now that you've said it that maybe weekly is probably a good thing because then it starts to create a really good habit. If I do it
Yep.
monthly, it's going to be easier to break the habit. Um, so I'll have to think about it during the week and sort of decide whether I want to do weekly or monthly. Um, newsletters, but I definitely want to do at least one just to get back in board, get in touch with all the people who have subscribed. Um, I also need to try and figure out what the best way to even try and engage in new subscribers are because I don't really know what the best way to promote a newsletter is, whether it's on my YouTube or my DeviantArt or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, that's going to be a hard one. Sorry, I keep saying because I'm like writing and talking at the same
Well,
time.
I can give you one tip right off the bat that's helpful, and I haven't implemented this yet myself, but I want to.
Yeah,
Is having something to give people when they sign up for the newsletter for free. That just like once they sign up, it comes directly to them, like some kind of download or free comic to read or something like that. Like something that makes sense with what you're trying to use the newsletter for. That's a great way to get people on board. So, and you could do that on any and all social media. So,
yeah, awesome. I like that. That's cool. Thanks, man. I suppose I could sort of
mhm.
coincide that with my gum tree, maybe. I don't know.
With your what?
my Gumroad. Sorry. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. I've lost my train of thought now, but what my other thing was going to be. Um, oh, and I want to at least try and finish three of those client jobs. So um, I think I'm just going to scrap the whole fan art, concept art thing for now, and just focus on this client job and just knock that out of the park. Because if I do focus more time on it, then the sooner it's done. Like I said earlier, the sooner it's done, the sooner I can focus on other things like creating more monkey junk or creating new products for my online store and stuff. So I'm going to aim for three because these are like single character illustrations and such. So they're not super time consuming, but it's just a matter of getting to them. Um, I think that might be it though. Like I don't know if I'm going to push it much farther than that. Um, so yeah, finish a page of monkey junk, get a newsletter happening, um, and just do three client illustrations. Um, doesn't sound like a lot, so I might even end up adding a few things after that. But these are sort of the main three that I'm sort of thinking about right now. Yeah,
Do you think that pushes you a little bit, or is that just what you can do? Because yeah, like for me, like 7 hours is like a little bit lofty, especially for this week, because I know I'm going to be busy on the weekend. Um, but I think I can do it plus some other things. So it's like stretching me a little bit. So I think that when we do these videos, like whatever our goal, it does. If we don't meet it, we don't meet it. But I think maybe it should stretch us a little bit. Be a little bit like I don't know if I could do it. You know what I mean?
yeah, true, true. That push would be nice. It would be nice to manage to get some really tight pencils done on that concept piece. I'd really like to try and do that. So I might throw that. I'll throw that in there. Even just pencils, no inks, just pencils, because that's going to take enough time. So pencils on the concept art.
Cool.
Cool. That should push me.
Don't mean to put the pressure on, but I'm putting the pressure on.
No, well, it's good. Like if it's there, like if I finish the client illustrations and I know that I can go, okay, I'm going to dedicate that extra spare time to this, and doing three illustrations for the client in 1 week is going to keep them really happy anyway. So um, yeah, and like if I do finish if it turns out that I've got the time, I'll push and go to the inks and like really drag that out. Because yeah, I really want that. I don't want to scrap that, but I just feel like I have to make sure the client work gets done. But I mean, I really want to do it.
Yeah.
It's such a hard divide, like doing stuff for a client and doing your own stuff. Like my own stuff always mentally takes precedence because I enjoy it more. Like I want to do it. When it comes to client work, it's like I should do it. I've got a bit more time, so I'll push it out and I'll leave it a little bit closer to the deadline, and it always shoots me in the foot. But yeah, it's hard. I enjoy doing what I want to do, but yeah, these clients just they're lovely people, but they just keep throwing more work at me, and they pay well, so I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And I
It's
always,
hard not to take it.
yeah, I mean, like it helps me pay the bills a little bit extra, or take the family out for a nice night out or something. So it's nice to have that extra play money,
Yeah.
which Monkey Junk isn't giving me at the moment. So one day that'll be nice, but not today. Oh, I just remembered one thing that I wanted to throw in there, and this probably won't even push my time out that much, is I'm going to start my vlog this week. I'm going to be doing a weekly vlog on my YouTube channel, so that's going in there as well. After
All
doing the
right.
unboxing video, it got me excited about videos again, so I want to do a weekly vlog and just track what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
it'll just
Yeah.
coincide with this pretty much.
I'd like to throw that in too, but I don't have an idea yet for what I want to do. So we'll see. Maybe next week I'll have a goal for YouTube.
I'll probably just treat mine like 100 days videos and then just mash it all together and pop it up at the end of the week. So I've discovered that my internet connection is, yeah, sorry to say, unfortunately, I know yours is pretty crappy at the moment, but mine's like exceptional. in this new house for whatever reason it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm really lucky in that regard. Like, I think it took me up 15 minutes to upload last week. The video I uploaded on the weekend, which was mind
Wow,
blowing. I was like, that's really fast. So
that's awesome. Because
that's
I
what,
know, right, and I think over there in Australia, you generally have slower internet, right?
yeah, as far as I know, I mean, that's the conception anyway. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, in the old house that I was in, like, it would have taken me 6 hours plus to upload a 15-minute video. So to go from 6 hours to 15 minute, 1 minute, minute to minute upload, um,
Wow.
is pretty good. So um, that made the decision of doing vlogs easier because I know that I have the option to do that at home easily. Yeah,
It's good.
so I want to include that in, and I don't want to lose track of my YouTube followers and everything. So I want to give them something each week, whether it's a tutorial video or a vlog. At least it's something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything to the video, or are we pretty much done?
Yeah, I think that's a good check-in.
Right. Awesome. Well, man, I wish you all the best in your goals this week. Um,
Absolutely.
can you
You
tell
too.
everyone on the channel where they can find you online so they can check out your work and find how to find Attack of the Lizard Brain?
Yes, number one thing, I mean, go to my website, donkeyjawprojects.com / Attack of the Lizard Brain. Pretty simple. And you can read the comic, let me know what you think, and scroll down to the bottom if you're interested in getting a print of the cover, and that's about it.
And it's free. It's
And
100%
it's free to
free.
read. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Um, did you want to put up your websites on YouTube and that?
My YouTube, it's hard to say what my YouTube is. I think it's like,
Complex
I don't know.
Locust?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
complex locust, but it's spelled weird, and so I don't usually say it. But
I'll make sure the
yeah,
link
it's
in the
complex
description below.
locust. But there's already a link in the description, and you know, you can always go to my website and just click the link that says YouTube. So
Too easy. You guys are already on my YouTube channel, so you know where to find me here. There'll also be links in the description below for my website for Monkey Junk, where you can find Monkey Junk online to read, and also my online store, which I've just added in the 100s anthology book on there for you guys to buy as well. I've just received my copies. And as I mentioned earlier, I've got a new DeviantArt, so if you guys want to check that out, you can go to monkeyjunkcomic.deviantart.com and you can find it all there. So I'll be updating that pretty regularly. Hopefully, that's the goal. Hopefully, it doesn't fizzle out like all the other social medias do. Cool.
sure, well,
All right, man. Good luck, and I'll check in with you next week.
yes, sir.
Good having you on, man. Bye.
Thanks. Have a good one.